Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon and watched the massive space station grow larger on the main screen. Nexus Prime looked like a giant metal flower floating in the darkness of space with dozens of different ships docked at its many arms. Some ships were sleek and silver while others looked like floating crystals or living organisms. Jake had never seen anything like it in his 40 years of life. "Captain, we are getting a signal from the station," said Lieutenant Danny Brooks from his position at the communications console. "They want to know our origin world and species designation." Jake took a deep breath. This was the moment humanity had been waiting for since they first built faster-than-light engines 5 years ago. "Tell them we are humans from the planet Earth, and we seek peaceful contact with the Galactic Council." The response came back within minutes, but it was not what anyone expected. Instead of a welcome message, the alien voice sounded shocked and almost afraid. "Did you say Earth?" The translator converted the alien words into English. "Please confirm your origin world immediately." Dr. Lisa Park looked up from her science station with confusion on her face. She was the best xenobiologist on Earth and had spent years preparing for this moment. "Why do they sound so surprised?" she whispered to Commander Rick Hayes, who stood beside her. Rick just shrugged his shoulders and kept his hand near his weapon out of habit. Ambassador Helen Carter stepped forward. She had been chosen to represent Earth because of her skills in diplomacy and her calm nature. "Captain, perhaps I should handle the communications from here." Jake nodded and gestured for her to take over. Helen activated her communication device and spoke clearly. "This is Ambassador Helen Carter representing the United Earth Government. We are indeed from the planet Earth and the Sol System. We come in peace and wish to join the galactic community." The silence that followed lasted for almost 10 minutes. Finally, a new voice came through the speakers. This one sounded older and more official. "Humans of Earth, you are cleared to dock at Bay 7. A full council escort will meet you there. Please understand that special protocols must be followed." As the Horizon moved toward the docking bay, Jake noticed something strange. Every ship in the area was moving away from them as if they were carrying some kind of disease. "Lisa, are our sensors picking up anything unusual about our ship?" he asked. Lisa checked her instruments twice before answering. "No, sir, everything is normal. Our radiation levels are standard and we are not leaking anything dangerous." "I do not understand why they are avoiding us." The docking procedure went smoothly, but Jake could see dozens of alien faces pressed against windows watching their every move. Some of the aliens looked like giant insects while others resembled walking plants or floating jellyfish. All of them seemed very interested in the human ship. When the airlock opened, Jake led his small team into the station. The gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth normal, and the air had a strange, sweet smell to it. Waiting for them was a group of 5 aliens that looked like a mix of different Earth animals. The leader had features similar to a lizard but walked upright and wore flowing robes. "I am Council Member Zeftai of the Valorian Hegemony," the alien said through a translation device attached to its chest. "Welcome to Nexus Prime, though I must admit we never expected to meet beings from a Class 12 Deathworld." Helen stepped forward with a smile. "Thank you for receiving us, Council Member Zeftai. I'm afraid we do not understand what you mean." By Class 12 Deathworld, the alien's eyes widened, and it looked at the other council members before speaking again. "You do not know what your own world is classified as." Zeftai seemed to struggle with the concept. "Earth is listed in our databases as one of the most dangerous planets in known space. No sapient life should be able to survive there, let alone develop advanced technology." Jake felt his stomach drop. "I think there has been some mistake. Earth is our home. Yes, it can be dangerous, but millions of humans live there safely." Another alien stepped forward. This one looked like a cross between a bird and a fish with bright blue scales and feathers. "Perhaps we should show them the database entry," it suggested in a voice that sounded like singing. Zeftai nodded and activated a holographic display. Information about Earth appeared in the air between them. Jake read the words with growing disbelief. Extreme weather patterns including hurricanes, tornadoes, and blizzards. Tectonic activity causing earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Predatory megafauna including creatures weighing several tons with massive teeth and claws, venomous insects and reptiles, disease-carrying parasites, radiation from the sun requiring protective measures. This is just normal life, Rick said quietly. Every planet must have these things. The bird alien made a sound that the translator interpreted as laughter. Young human, most worlds in the galaxy are what you might call paradise. Gentle weather, stable, ground-friendly animals, clean water, and safe sunlight. The worst danger most species face in their evolution is choosing between different types of fruit. Lisa looked at the other humans with wide eyes. Are you saying that Earth is unusually dangerous compared to other inhabited worlds? Not just unusually dangerous, Zeftai explained. Earth is so hostile that our scientists believed it was impossible for intelligent life to develop there. The fact that you not only survived, but created art, music, literature, and advanced technology defies everything we know about evolution and development. Helen tried to process this information. So humans are different from other galactic species. Because of where we come from, you are living proof that intelligence can arise under the most extreme conditions, another council member said. This alien looked like a walking crystal formation. Your species had to become incredibly tough and adaptable just to survive to the point where you could build spaceships. Jake watched as more aliens gathered around their group. All of them stared at the humans with expressions that ranged from curiosity to fear to something that might have been awe. What does this mean for our application to join the Galactic Council? He asked. Zeftai exchanged glances with the other council members before answering. That is a very complicated question, human Jake Morrison. Never before has a Deathworld species achieved spaceflight. We have no protocols for this situation. Some council members believe you should be welcomed as a miraculous achievement. Others think you should be quarantined until we better understand what you are capable of, the crystal alien spoke up. We have received reports that individual humans can survive injuries that would kill most galactic citizens. Is this true? Rick looked uncomfortable. Well, humans are pretty tough, but we are not invincible. Perhaps we should arrange some basic evaluations. Zeftai suggested. Nothing harmful. Of course, just simple tests to understand your capabilities better. This information will help the council make an informed decision about your status. Helen nodded slowly. We are willing to cooperate with any reasonable requests. However, we hope the council will remember that we came here seeking friendship and peaceful cooperation. As they were led deeper into the station, Jake noticed that news of their arrival was spreading quickly. Aliens of dozens of different species stopped whatever they were doing to stare at the human delegation. Some pointed while others seemed to be taking pictures or recordings with strange devices. I have a feeling, Lisa whispered to the group, that life is about to get very interesting for humanity. Lieutenant Danny Brooks stood in the testing facility and looked around at the strange equipment that filled the room. The Galactic Council had spent 3 days preparing what they called standard evaluation procedures for the human volunteers. Danny had been chosen along with 5 other humans because of their different backgrounds and skills. Dr. Amy White was there to monitor their health while the tests were happening. These evaluations are completely routine, explained Counselor Velanara, an alien that looked like a giant spider with 6 arms and purple fur covering her body. Every species that joins the council goes through the same basic assessments. We test physical capabilities, mental flexibility, and stress responses under various conditions. General Marcus Stone nodded from where he stood with the other human observers. He had been against the testing at first, but Ambassador Carter had convinced him it was necessary to build trust with the galactic community. How long do these tests usually take? He asked. Most species complete the full evaluation in about 6 hours, Velanara replied. Though some of the more delicate races require rest periods between each section, the first test took place in what the aliens called a survival chamber. Danny and the other volunteers were given basic equipment and told to survive for 12 hours in a hostile environment. When the chamber activated, Danny found himself in what looked like a dense forest with tall trees, thick bush, and the sound of running water nearby. This is supposed to be hostile? Asked Lieutenant Sarah Kemez. She looked around the peaceful woodland scene. Birds sang in the trees and sunlight filtered down through the leaves, creating a pleasant atmosphere. Through the speakers they could hear alien voices discussing what they were seeing. "The humans appear calm and unafraid," one voice observed. "Subject Brooks is already moving toward the water source without any apparent concern for predators." Danny found a clear stream and knelt down to drink from it. The water tasted clean and fresh. Around him, the other humans were setting up a basic camp using skills they had learned in military training. Within 2 hours, they had built shelters, collected food, and started a fire. "Are you certain this is the standard hostile environment setting?" they heard an alien voice ask. "The humans are treating this like a recreational activity," Dr. Amy White, who was monitoring them from the observation room, spoke into her communicator. "How are you feeling, Danny?" she asked. "Any unusual stress or discomfort? Honestly, Doc, this feels like a vacation," Danny replied as he stretched out near the fire. "The weather is perfect, and there are no dangerous animals or poisonous plants. It's like being at summer camp." The alien observers seemed confused by this response. After 6 hours, they ended the test, even though the humans showed no signs of stress or fatigue. Velanara looked at the results with all 6 of her eyes. According to our instruments, their heart rates barely increased and their stress hormones remained at baseline levels. Throughout the entire trial, the next test was designed to measure physical endurance. The humans were asked to run on machines that could adjust speed and resistance while carrying weighted packs. What the aliens considered an extreme endurance challenge turned out to be similar to normal training exercises for the human military personnel. "Subject Brooks has been running for 90 minutes without showing signs of exhaustion," announced the alien technician operating the machine. "This is already 3 times longer than our previous record holder." Danny was breathing hard but still felt strong. Behind him, Sarah Kim was keeping pace while carrying an even heavier pack. The alien observers gathered around their monitoring equipment and spoke in excited whispers. "Their muscle efficiency is remarkable," one alien scientist noted, "and their cooling system seems designed for extended physical activity after 2 more hours." The aliens stopped the test not because the humans were tired, but because they were worried about the safety of their equipment. The running machines had never been used for so long and were starting to overheat. The psychological stress tests proved equally surprising to the galactic observers. Humans were placed in situations designed to trigger fear responses, including loud noises, flashing lights, and simulated emergencies. Instead of panicking, the humans remained calm and worked together to solve the problems they were given. These scenarios would reduce most council species to helpless terror, Velanara explained to General Stone. "Yet your people are actually becoming more focused and efficient under pressure. Humans evolved to handle crisis situations," Amy White replied. "Danger tends to make us think more clearly, not less clearly." The most dramatic moment came when the testing facility experienced what appeared to be a real emergency. Alarms started blaring and automated voices announced that there had been a containment breach in another section of the station. While the alien staff ran around in panic trying to follow evacuation procedures, the human volunteers immediately organized themselves into a response team. Danny took charge and assigned roles to each person. "Sarah, you and Mike secure the exit routes. Lisa, start helping evacuate the alien civilians. Amy, monitor for any injuries or medical emergencies." Within minutes, the humans had turned chaos into organized action. They guided confused aliens to safety, helped carry equipment, and provided first aid to anyone who needed it. When station security finally arrived, they found the testing area completely evacuated and all personnel accounted for. "It was a false alarm," the security chief announced. "A computer malfunction triggered the emergency systems." The alien observers stared at the humans in amazement. During what they thought was a real crisis, the Deathworld species had taken control of the situation and protected everyone around them, including aliens they had never met before. "In our species' history," Velanara said quietly, "emergency situations cause individuals to become selfish and save only themselves. Your people did the opposite. We work better as a team when things get dangerous," Danny explained. "It's just human." Nature over the following day's word of the human test results spread throughout Nexus. Prime, aliens from dozens of different species came to observe the strange beings from the deadly world called Earth. Some wanted to study human biology, while others were simply curious about creatures that could treat extreme danger as a minor inconvenience. Dr. Amy White found herself answering questions from alien scientists who could not understand how human bodies worked. "Your bone density is extraordinary," observed a jellyfish-like alien doctor, "and your muscle fibers appear to be designed for explosive power rather than gentle movement. We had to be strong to survive on Earth," Amy explained. "Everything on our planet is trying to kill you, so humans evolved to be tough." The most interested observer was an ancient alien called Elder Quindella, who had lived for over 800 years. Unlike the other species, Quindella did not seem afraid of the humans. Instead, the Elder appeared fascinated by their potential. "In all my centuries, I have never seen anything like this," Quindella told the human delegation during a private meeting. "Your species represents something new in galactic evolution. Most races become intelligent by avoiding danger and seeking comfort. You became intelligent by facing danger and overcoming it." Ambassador Carter listened carefully to the Elder's words. "Does this mean the Council will accept humanity as members?" "That remains to be seen," Quindella replied. "Some Council members are impressed by your abilities. Others are concerned about what those abilities might mean for galactic stability. A species that thrives under pressure and grows stronger through conflict is unlike anything we have encountered before." As the formal evaluation period came to an end, Danny and the other volunteers had exceeded every benchmark the Council had established for new species. They had completed tests designed for cybernetically enhanced beings using only their natural human capabilities. More importantly, they had demonstrated that humans could work effectively with alien species even under stressful conditions. "The results are unprecedented," Velinara announced to the full Council assembly. "The humans have not only passed every standard evaluation but have redefined what we consider possible for biological entities." General Stone stood with his team as they waited for the Council's decision. Around them, hundreds of alien representatives debated the implications of accepting a Deathworld species into their community. Some argued that humans would make powerful allies, while others worried about the precedent it would set. "Whatever they decide," Danny said quietly to his fellow volunteers, "we have shown them that humans are more than just survivors. We are people who can be trusted to help others even when we are far from home." The vote would come soon, and with it humanity's future among the stars. Colonel Sam Turner watched the holographic display showing the Kepler system and felt his jaw tighten with anger. 3 peaceful worlds that had been home to billions of gentle beings were now under attack by the Vorthan Empire. The Vorthans were one of the few aggressive species in the galaxy, and they had decided that the Kepler Collective's rich mining worlds would make excellent additions to their territory. "The Collective's defense forces are completely overwhelmed," reported Major Kate Sullivan as she studied the tactical data streaming in from the battle zone. "Their ships are designed for exploration and trade, not combat. The Vorthans are using military vessels armed with heavy weapons." President Clark had called an emergency meeting as soon as Earth received the distress signal from Elder Korvash, leader of the Kepler Collective. For 2 days, the peaceful aliens had begged the Galactic Council for help, but the response had been slow and bureaucratic. Most Council species had no experience with real warfare and did not know how to fight an enemy that refused to negotiate. "What about the other galactic powers?" asked Admiral Beth Crawford. "Surely someone has military capabilities." Sam shook his head. "The Council's peacekeeping forces are designed for riot control and piracy suppression, not full-scale planetary invasion. They have never faced anything like what the Vorthans are doing." The truth was that most galactic species had evolved on worlds so safe and peaceful that they had never developed serious military traditions. Wars were rare and usually ended through diplomacy rather than combat. The concept of total war, where one species tried to completely destroy another, was almost unknown in galactic society. Sir, Kate said as she received a new transmission. Elder Corvash is requesting permission to speak directly with you. The holographic image of the Kepler leader appeared in the room. Corvash looked like a cross between a deer and a tree with bark-like skin and gentle brown eyes. His normally calm voice was filled with desperation. Colonel Turner, I am calling to make a formal request for human military assistance. Elder Corvash, you know that Earth is not yet a full member of the Council, Sam replied. We do not have the legal authority to intervene in galactic conflicts. The Council has given special permission for this situation, Corvash explained. They recognize that conventional forces cannot stop the Vorthan advance. Your people are the only ones who have experience with the kind of warfare we are facing. President Clark leaned forward. What exactly are you asking us to do? Help us. Save our children, the alien leader said simply. The Vorthans are not interested in conquest. They want to eliminate everyone on our worlds and replace them with their own people. This is genocide, Colonel Turner, and we have nowhere else to turn. Sam looked at the faces around the table and saw his own feelings reflected there. Humanity had spent months trying to prove they could be trusted members of the galactic community. Now they had a chance to show what Earth's children could do when innocent lives were at stake. How long do we have? Sam asked. The main Vorthan fleet will reach New Geneva in 8 hours, Corvash replied. It is our most populated world with over 2 billion civilians. If it falls, the rest of our territory will surrender to avoid further casualties. Within 6 hours, 3 human battle groups were jumping toward the Kepler system. Sam commanded the ground forces while Admiral Crawford led the space fleet. They were outnumbered almost 10-1, but human military doctrine had never been about having superior numbers. The first shock came when the human ships arrived in the New Geneva system. Warlord Grixmal, the Vorthan commander, had expected to face the same kind of weak resistance his forces had encountered on the other Kepler worlds. Instead, his sensors detected vessels unlike anything in the galactic databases. What are those ships? Demanded Grixmal as he stared at the human fleet. On his main screen, the vessels looked angular and aggressive, with obvious weapon systems covering their hulls. Unknown configuration, sir, reported his tactical officer. But they are broadcasting in the human language from Earth. Grixmal had heard rumors about the Deathworld species, but had dismissed them as galactic gossip. How many ships? 37, sir, including what appears to be their command vessel, the Vorthan warlord laughed. His own fleet consisted of over 400 warships equipped with the most advanced weapons the Empire could build. Signal the humans and tell them to withdraw immediately or be destroyed. Admiral Crawford received the Vorthan ultimatum while her fleet was still organizing into battle formation. This is Admiral Beth Crawford of the United Earth Forces. She replied, You will cease your attacks on civilian populations and withdraw from Kepler territory immediately. Or what little human, Grixmal responded. You are vastly outnumbered and your primitive ships pose no threat to the Empire. Crawford smiled grimly. Then I guess you are about to learn why Earth is classified as a death world. The battle that followed would be studied by military historians for generations. Human ships moved in patterns that confused Vorthan targeting systems, using tactics developed during Earth's many wars, while galactic vessels preferred to fight at long range, exchanging careful shots human commanders brought their fleets in close where their superior maneuverability could be used effectively. Their pilots are insane, shouted a Vorthan ship captain as human fighters dove through formations that should have destroyed them. They are flying through our defensive fire like it does not exist. The humans had grown up on a world where lightning, storms, tornadoes, and earthquakes were normal parts of life. The chaos of space combat felt familiar rather than terrifying. Human pilots could handle G-forces that would crush alien crews, and their reaction times were faster than anything the Vorthans had encountered. On the ground, Sam Turner was leading the first human soldiers ever to fight on an alien world. The Vorthans had landed troops on New Geneva expecting to face the same kind of weak resistance they had met elsewhere. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to thrive in conditions that would break other species. Contact. Front. called Sergeant Tony Clark as his squad spotted Vorthan soldiers moving through a ruined city district. The aliens were wearing full environmental suits and moved slowly as if the planet's gravity was difficult for them, human soldiers. By contrast, were operating in light armor and moving with the speed and confidence of people who felt at home in dangerous places. New Geneva's environment was actually quite pleasant by Earth standards, with breathable air, comfortable temperatures, and gravity only slightly lighter than normal. "Flank left and hit them from the side," Sam ordered. His troops moved through the rubble with an ease that amazed their Kepler allies. Where alien soldiers needed special equipment to climb over obstacles, humans simply vaulted them without breaking stride. The turning point came at a place that would later be called Firebase Charlie. 12 human soldiers found themselves surrounded by over 300 Vorthan troops who had expected an easy victory. Instead of surrendering, the humans used the terrain to their advantage and turned the abandoned building into a fortress. "They will not give up," reported the Vorthan ground commander as his forces tried again and again to break through human defenses. "Every time we breach their perimeter, they adapt and seal the gap." Major Kate Sullivan was leading the defense of Firebase Charlie with a mix of Marines and Army specialists. They had been cut off from the main force but refused to retreat while civilian evacuation was still in progress. "Kate, we can hold for maybe 6 more hours, called Lieutenant Bob Kelly from his position covering the main entrance. "Then we hold for 6 hours, Kate replied calmly as she coordinated defensive fire. Around her, human soldiers were doing things that should have been impossible, fighting effectively while injured, using broken equipment to deadly effect, and maintaining morale even when the situation seemed hopeless. When relief forces finally reached Firebase Charlie, they found the building still in human hands despite having sustained massive damage. The Vorthan attack had been broken not by superior firepower, but by the simple fact that the human defenders refused to be defeated. "How?" asked Elder Corvash when he visited the site after the battle. "How did so few hold off so many? Because giving up is not in our nature," Kate explained. "On Earth, if you quit fighting, you die, so humans learn never to quit." The news of human military success spread across the galaxy faster than light communications could carry it. Species that had dismissed Earth as an interesting curiosity suddenly realized they were dealing with something unprecedented. The Deathworld beings were not just tough survivors, they were natural warriors who could adapt to any battlefield. In the Galactic Council chambers, emergency sessions were called to discuss the implications of human military capabilities. Some members were relieved that such powerful allies existed to protect peaceful species. Others worried about what would happen if humanity ever decided to use their abilities for conquest rather than defense. "The humans have fundamentally changed the balance of galactic power," observed Counselor Velinara during one heated debate. "They have proven that a single Deathworld species can defeat enemies that outnumber them dramatically." As the last Vorthan forces retreated from Kepler territory, Sam Turner stood on the command deck of his ship and watched the stars. In 3 days of fighting, humanity had gone. Admiral Beth Crawford stood before the newly constructed Human Military Academy on Luna Base and watched as the first class of alien cadets attempted to complete what humans considered basic training exercises. The sight would have been amusing if the implications were not so serious. Representatives from 47 different species had requested training in what the galaxy now called Deathworld tactics. "Cadet Zixara needs medical attention again," reported instructor Bill Hayes as he helped a lizard-like alien who had collapsed during a simple obstacle course. "That is the 3rd one today, and we have only been running them for 20 minutes. Secretary of State John Baker observed the training from a safe distance. 6 months after the Kepler incident, every major galactic power wanted to understand how human military doctrine worked. The problem was that most alien species simply could not handle the physical and mental demands that humans considered normal. "Maybe we should design easier versions of the training," suggested Dr. Peter Kim, who had been studying the psychological effects of Deathworld evolution on different species. "These aliens evolved on paradise worlds, asking them to think like Humans might be impossible. Beth shook her head as she watched another alien cadet give up during what Earth military academies called a light warm-up exercise. The Kepler War proved that gentle training does not work against real enemies. If they want to be able to defend themselves, they need to learn how to fight the way humans fight. The truth was spreading across the galaxy, whether people wanted to admit it or not. Traditional galactic military thinking was completely inadequate against aggressive enemies. Warfare among the stars required the kind of mindset that could only develop on worlds where everything was trying to kill you. "Admiral Crawford," called a familiar voice. Empress Silandra of the consortium approached with her usual grace. The tall, elegant alien looked like a cross between a swan and a crystal formation. "I wanted to discuss the protection agreement our governments have been negotiating." This was another major change that had followed human military success. Dozens of peaceful species were offering technology, resources, and territory in exchange for human protection. Earth was rapidly becoming the center of a new kind of alliance based on mutual benefit rather than conquest. "Your Majesty," Beth replied with a respectful nod. "I understand your people have developed some interesting new ship designs." "Indeed," Salandra smiled. "Our engineers have been working with your specifications to create vessels that can handle the stress of human combat maneuvers. In return, we hope Earth will establish a permanent defense force in consortium space." These partnerships were making humanity richer and more powerful every day. Human manufacturing capabilities had proven superior to most galactic standards because Earth industries were designed to work under harsh conditions. When combined with alien technology and resources, the results were remarkable. Not everyone was happy with humanity's growing influence. In a secret meeting chamber deep beneath the surface of the war world, Graxtar's several dozen alien leaders gathered to discuss what they called the human problem. "They are becoming too powerful too," quickly declared War Chief Drakter as he addressed the assembled representatives. The massive reptilian alien had built his reputation on conquest and domination. First, they humiliate the Vorthans in battle, then they start training other species to fight like them. Soon every world in the galaxy will be under human protection. "What do you suggest?" asked General Krexver, whose insect-like people had once been among the galaxy's most feared warriors. "The humans have proven they can defeat vastly superior numbers through tactics we do not understand." Drakter slammed his clawed fist on the table. "Then we find a way to understand them. Study their weaknesses. Learn how Deathworld evolution really works. There must be some way to counter their advantages." Back on Earth, President Clark was dealing with the political implications of humanity's new status. The Galactic Council had fast-tracked Earth's membership application, but the responsibilities that came with power were enormous. Every day brought new requests for help from species facing threats they could not handle alone. "Sir, we have another situation developing in the Outer Rim," reported General Marcus Stone during the daily security briefing. "The Zephyrian Trade Union is being attacked by pirates and their security forces are inadequate." "How many human ships would it take to resolve the situation?" Clark asked tiredly. Since Kepler, there had been 17 similar incidents and Earth was starting to feel stretched thin. "A single destroyer should be sufficient," Stone replied. "The pirates are using converted cargo vessels against targets that cannot fight back. They will run as soon as they see a real warship." This was another lesson the galaxy was learning about Deathworld dwellers. Humans did not just fight better than other species, they also understood psychology of combat in ways that peaceful aliens could not grasp. The mere presence of human forces was often enough to end conflicts without a shot being fired. Meanwhile, in the research laboratories of the Galactic Science Institute, teams of specialists were working around the clock to understand the biological and cultural factors that made humans so effective. Dr. Elena Ross led one such team studying human neural patterns during combat situations. "The data is remarkable," she reported to her alien colleagues during a video conference. "Human brains actually function more efficiently under stress conditions. While most species experience decreased cognitive ability during emergencies, humans show improved focus, reaction time, and decision-making. How is this possible? Asked the lead researcher, a floating gas bag creature from the methane worlds. Evolution should favor beings who avoid dangerous situations, not those who perform better in them. Elena looked at brain scans showing human neural activity during simulated combat. Earth was so dangerous that only the most adaptable individuals survived to reproduce. Over millions of years, this created a species that treats crisis as an opportunity rather than a threat. The implications were staggering. Every major galactic institution was being forced to reconsider basic assumptions about intelligent civilization and survival. Universities rewrote textbooks while military academies developed new doctrines based on human examples. The most dramatic change was happening on worlds throughout the galaxy where young aliens inspired by human examples were pushing themselves beyond traditional limits. On the peaceful garden world of Serenity Prime, a group of young plant-like beings had started what they called adventure clubs, where they deliberately sought out mildly dangerous experiences. "Our children are becoming different," observed Elder Talaneth during a concerned meeting of Serenity leadership. "They no longer seem content with the quiet, contemplative life our people have always lived." Similar reports were coming from dozens of worlds. Exposure to human culture was changing alien youth in ways their elders found disturbing. Young beings who should have been satisfied with safety and comfort were instead seeking challenges that would help them grow stronger. "This is the real power of Deathworld evolution," Dr. Kim explained during a lecture at the new Galactic University. "It does not just create tougher individuals, it creates a culture that values growth through adversity." Humans spread this mindset everywhere they go. The search for other Deathworlds had become a galaxy-wide obsession. If Earth could produce such remarkable beings, what other dangerous worlds might harbor evolved species? Exploration fleets launched toward every hostile planet in known space, hoping to find the next great discovery. "We have identified 17 candidate worlds with extreme conditions," reported Captain Nina Ross, who led the main search expedition. "3 show signs of possible intelligent life, though we cannot establish communication yet." The discovery of the ice world dwellers called the Kithara proved that Earth was not unique. These crystalline beings had evolved on a planet where temperatures dropped below -200 degrees and storms could freeze solid rock. Like humans, they had developed incredible resilience and problem-solving abilities. "They are different from us, but clearly follow the same pattern," observed Admiral Crawford after meeting with Kithara representatives. "Extreme environments create beings who can handle anything the galaxy throws at them." As humanity entered its second year among the stars, the old Galactic Order was crumbling. Species that had dominated through technology or numbers found themselves replaced by those who could adapt and overcome. The age of comfortable stagnation was ending, replaced by an era where growth and challenge were valued above safety and tradition. "We have started something that cannot be stopped," President Clark told his advisors during a strategy meeting. "The galaxy is waking up from a million-year sleep and learning that there is more to existence than mere survival." The Deathworld doctrine had become more than military strategy. It was a new philosophy that emphasized strength through struggle. Across thousands of worlds, beings were discovering that they could become more than they had ever imagined possible. The rise of Deathworlders was changing everything, and the Tremors were only beginning. Director Ray Foster stood on the observation deck of Deep Space Station Harmony and watched ships from dozens of worlds arriving for the first Galactic Development Summit. 2 years had passed since humanity first made contact, and the galaxy had transformed in ways no one could have predicted. The station itself was a symbol of the new era, built using human engineering principles but powered by alien technology that surpassed anything Earth had developed alone. "Sir, the Kithara delegation has just docked," reported Lieutenant Commander Alex Stone as he reviewed the arrival schedule. "They are requesting permission to demonstrate their new ice manipulation techniques during the science presentations." Ray nodded with satisfaction. The discovery of the Kithara had proven that Earth was not the only world capable of producing extraordinary beings. The crystalline species from the ice world Frostheim had quickly become humanity's closest allies, sharing a common understanding of what it meant to survive on a planet that constantly tested its inhabitants. Captain Nina Ross entered the observation lounge carrying data tablets filled with exploration reports. Her ship, the Discovery, had spent the past year mapping dangerous worlds throughout the galaxy, and the results were remarkable. "We have confirmed intelligent life on 12 Deathworlds," she announced. 3 species are already spacefaring and eager to make contact. The Deathworld Alliance had grown from a desperate partnership during the Kepler War into the most dynamic force in galactic politics. Unlike the old council system that moved slowly through endless committees, the Alliance made decisions quickly and acted decisively. Member species contributed according to their abilities rather than their economic status. "How are the traditional powers responding to our latest expansion?" asked Chancellor Eva King, who served as Earth's primary representative to the reformed Galactic Council. The elegant woman had replaced Ambassador Carter after the original diplomat decided to retire to write her memoirs of first contact. "About as well as expected," Ray replied with a slight smile. "The Valorian hegemony is demanding new regulations on Deathworld species, while the Crystal Confederation wants to join our alliance despite having evolved on one of the safest planets in known space." This was the central tension of the new Galactic Order. Species that had dominated through wealth or technology found themselves increasingly irrelevant, while worlds that had been ignored for their harsh conditions were suddenly valuable partners. The concept of planetary difficulty ratings had replaced traditional measures of civilization advancement. In the main conference hall, Sage Quindella addressed representatives from over 300 worlds. The ancient being had become an unofficial philosopher of the Deathworld movement despite having evolved on a peaceful garden world. "We stand at a crossroads in galactic history," the sage declared in a voice that carried the wisdom of 8 centuries. "For too long we have measured success by how comfortable we could make ourselves. The Deathworld species have shown us that true growth comes through facing challenges, not avoiding them." Young aliens throughout the audience nodded enthusiastically. The generation that had grown up hearing stories of human achievements and Cathara innovations had developed very different values from their cautious elders. They wanted adventure, exploration, and the chance to prove themselves against difficult odds. "The old ways are dying," observed Dr. Peter Kim, as he watched alien youth participate in extreme sports competitions that would have horrified their parents. "These young beings are choosing struggle over safety because they have seen what it can accomplish." The transformation was most dramatic in the military sphere. The Human Military Academy on Luna had been joined by similar institutions on 17 other worlds, each adapted to local conditions but following the same basic principles. Alien officers trained alongside human instructors learned not just tactics but the mindset that made Deathworld warriors so effective. "Graduation rates are still low," reported Admiral Beth Crawford during a strategy meeting with Alliance leadership. "Most alien species simply cannot handle the mental stress of thinking like a human soldier. But those who do succeed become incredibly capable leaders." The few alien graduates of human military programs had become legends in their own right. Commander Valenix, a spider-like being from a high-gravity moon, had led the successful defense of the Silk Road, trading routes against pirate attacks. Captain Torgan, whose people resembled walking trees, had developed new urban warfare techniques that combined human aggression with plant-like patience. "We are creating something entirely new," Chancellor King observed. "Not just better soldiers, but leaders who can inspire others to exceed their limitations." The economic effects of the Deathworld Revolution were equally dramatic. Human manufacturing techniques designed to work under extreme conditions produced goods that lasted longer and performed better than traditional galactic products. When combined with alien materials and energy sources, the results created prosperity on a scale the galaxy had never seen. "Earth's industrial output has increased by 400% since first contact," reported Economic Minister Frank Wright. "But more importantly, we are teaching other species how to build things that can survive real-world conditions rather than laboratory environments." This practical approach to technology was spreading throughout Alliance territory. Alien engineers who had spent centuries perfecting delicate instruments were learning to design robust systems that could function in hostile environments. The philosophy of building things tough enough for death worlds was revolutionizing everything. From starship construction to agricultural equipment, the social changes were perhaps the most profound of all. Species that had lived in harmony for millions of years were suddenly producing individuals who wanted to explore dangerous places and test themselves against impossible odds. Family structures that had emphasized safety and tradition found themselves adapting to children who valued growth and challenge. "My daughter wants to join the human space marines," complained Elder Corvash during a private meeting with Chancellor King. "She says that protecting others from danger is more important than studying art and philosophy. Is that necessarily a bad thing?" Eva asked gently. "The galaxy needs protectors as much as it needs artists." These conversations were happening on thousands of worlds as traditional societies struggled to understand the new values their young people were embracing. The influence of Deathworld culture was creating the largest generational divide in galactic history. In the research laboratories of Deep Space Station Harmony, teams of scientists from dozens of species worked together to unlock the secrets of Deathworld evolution. Dr. Sarah Martinez led the biological research division while her alien colleagues studied the cultural and psychological factors that created exceptional beings. "We have identified the key variables," she announced during a major scientific conference. "Planetary difficulty, environmental pressure, and survival challenges all contribute to evolutionary development. But the most important factor is cultural transmission of adaptive behaviors." "What does that mean in practical terms?" asked a researcher, whose people resembled floating jellyfish with crystalline tentacles. Sarah smiled as she displayed her data. "It means that Deathworld traits can be learned and passed on to others. You do not have to be born on a dangerous planet to develop the mindset and abilities that make Deathworld species so successful." This discovery had enormous implications for the future of galactic civilization. If the qualities that made humans in Cathara so remarkable could be taught to other species, then the entire galaxy could benefit from Deathworld evolution without having to endure millions of years of natural selection. "We are seeing the birth of a new kind of being," observed Sage Quindella during a philosophical discussion with human and alien thinkers. "Not just individuals who are tough enough to survive difficult conditions, but people who actively seek out challenges because they understand that growth requires struggle." The final day of the summit featured demonstrations of capabilities that would have been considered impossible just 2 years earlier. Human engineers worked alongside Kithara, ice shapers, and representatives from the newly discovered lava world Ignister to build a prototype space station using techniques from 3 different Deathworld cultures. "Look at what we can accomplish together," Ray Foster told the assembled delegates as they watched the construction project unfold in real time. "Each of our species brings unique strengths developed through unique challenges. When we combine those strengths, we can achieve things that none of us could manage alone." The closing ceremony took place in a specially constructed amphitheater that showcased the diversity of Alliance membership. Representatives from over 50 Deathworlds stood alongside delegates from traditional galactic powers, who had chosen to embrace the new philosophy of growth through challenge. "Today we established the Galactic Development Initiative," announced Chancellor King as she signed the founding documents. "Our mission is not to make life easier, but to help every species discover what they are truly capable of achieving." As the delegates dispersed to return to their homeworlds, Ray Foster remained on the observation deck watching the stars. In 2 short years, humanity had gone from unknown newcomers to the leaders of a galactic transformation.